Gonna make the profiles boom, 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 boom. What it is. As you can tell by that profile right there, yes, indubitably in a menudo style direct fashion, today is Sunday, so you already know what it means. Last day for a fun day. Back to business as usual comes Monday, but in a lighter shade of brown fashion, but a gunner tone. We're talking about the New World Order. Wrestling, professional wrestling entertainment, whatever you want to call it. Like an alcoholic, at the end of the day, I'm a big fan. And I want to put a profile every Sunday out about wrestling. Yes, indeed. There's a lot of people out there that are not into it, but so get quiet as a kid. Come out the closet. I think you're good. It's all fine, man. Orderly. I know you like Brutus Beefcake. Stop it, right? Everybody likes wrestling for the most part. They like something that goes into it. They can't call it like an alcoholic, but there's something there that pulls and gravitates people towards it. I'm a big wrestling fan. I have always been a big wrestling fan since I was a youth. You know what I mean? When I was a youth, I smoked weed out. Now I'm the motherfucker that you read about taking a life for two. Orale, N.W.O. But we're not talking about N.W.O. We're talking about N.W.O. for life, right? The N.W.O. Now let me explain something to you guys. And you guys know what's up. Any wrestling fan that's here today right now, you've been waiting on this one. Oh yes, the wind's been blown. We've all been waiting on this one. The New World Order. And they took the world by storm. They took professional wrestling, turned it upside down. Is it worth it? Let me work it. Let me flip it down. They did it like a Rubik's Cube and mixed it all up. Let me tell you something about the New World Order and the history of the N.W.O. Okay, now, stables. For those of you that don't, sit down. I'm so disgusted with you. I don't know what to do. For those of you that don't know what stables mean, there's been plenty of factions and stables, basically little lightweight gangs within the organization of professional wrestling since the beginning of time. Of course, you had a lot of older stables that I remember, like, of course, the most legendary one, the Four Horsemen. You know, of course, you've had the Dungeon of Doom. You know, Degeneration X, the Clique. You know, several other, Nation of Domination, Legacy, Evolution, Degeneration X. We'll get to them later. But when it comes to stables, I think the most prominent stable in the 2000s was the N.W.O. for life, right? The N.W.O. and how they came about is a trick. It was all a business move, okay? A young man named Eric Bischoff, who was actually an announcer for World Championship Wrestling, got his opportunity. He got his chance. Being a lifelong professional wrestling fan, he gravitated more onto the side of, you know, working in front of the camera, being on that table, announcing, kind of like a Shane McMahon did in the beginning, Vince McMahon did in the beginning, but all the while learning the intricacies and the details of what it takes to run a promotion like WCW, a very large promotion that at that time in the late 90s and early 2000s was actually in a war with the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, what is now known as WWE. So they were going heads up, and it was about to get worse. It was about to heat up because the WCW decided that if for no other reason, they should go heads up with a new program called Nitro that would follow, that would actually start 1 hour prior to WWF's Raw, which was their staple show that they had every Monday. They continue to have. Okay, WCW is no longer around, but we'll get to that. So Eric Bischoff got his chance. He got his chance to actually run this promotion, to be the man behind the scenes, to be the general manager. Now, he's been a wrestling fan for several years, so what he decided was he was going to start implementing different type of arts, different type of narratives, different type of storylines. And coming from the era of watching wrestling in all different countries, he used to watch and really liked wrestling in New Japan. It was called New Japan Promotions, New Japan Organization, New Japan Wrestling. And they had a lot of different ideas. They were very innovative in what they did. They seen the future of wrestling right before them. So he took one of their storylines, which was this New World Order, or this New World Organization, which was a new stable of super teams that had basically came together, super wrestlers that had come together to form this organization. They were heels, of course, meaning bad guys. And they basically ran rampant through New Japan Wrestling. So this was always in the back of his mind, but he never had the right opportunity to jump on it or implement it because he didn't have the right characters. Well, along comes Scott Hall, also known as Razor Ramon. Rest in peace, Big Scott Hall. The bad guy, man, right? The bad guy is in a contract dispute with Vince McMahon for the World Wrestling Federation. Now, he's one of a very well-known wrestlers at this time, being the Intercontinental Champion, Razor Ramon, everybody knows him. He's a household name. If you watch wrestling, you know exactly who this guy is. He's one of the only characters, there's only been a handful that was able to cross over from a heel to a good guy without actually crossing over. You know, people liked him because of his machismo, the way he acted. It's like, I didn't give a fuck. He'll throw the toothpick on you one time. So he's in this contract dispute. So Vince, not Russo, fuck, he's a baboso. But Eric Bischoff reaches out to him through Diamond Dallas Page, who was actually a good friend of Scott Hall, and lets him know, hey, we'll give you more money, less hours to work, less shows. Come on over here, I have a great idea. So, of course, what happens, in 1996, the very first 2-hour Nitro was aired. And this vato, Eric Bischoff, had an idea. He says, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do an invasion-style tactic. We're going to make it look, because the people behind the scenes don't know that Razor Ramon is no longer a part of the WWE. You know, only real wrestling fans that know about that really know. So anyways, they were like, we're going to put you in the audience. We're going to make it look like you're invading us, like you're still with the WWF. This was the storyline. This was believable. This is what a lot of people believed. Now, up until this point, you had never seen wrestlers cross the threshold of going from one organization to another like that. They'll pop up with a different name. Orale, that vato is the Dingo Warrior. Now all of a sudden he's the Ultimate Warrior. Baboso, right? This is how they did it. But for a guy to actually still one night be over there in WWF and the next night be in WCW, this was something different. This was the right timing, the right place, the right character, the right everything. It just worked out and it took fire. So when this guy raises up, man, and people see, whoa, it's Scott Hall and he's wearing his jean jacket and his jean pants. I'll never forget the day. He jumps over the rail and he lets everyone know, you want a war? Well, we're going to bring you a war. Next week, he was going to have a big surprise, okay? That big surprise being Big Kevin Nash, also known as Diesel in the WWF. When he brought in Big Kevin Nash, people automatically assumed, I was right there like, I assumed WWF was invading WCW and they were taking over. So, of course, a couple months passed, man, and they're going back and forth with WCW wrestlers, Lex Luger's, Sting's, Ric Flair's, vatos of that nature, Hulk Hogan's. And they let everyone know, man, at Bash in the Beach, that they're challenging all takers. Of course, Macho Man, Lex Luger, and Sting, who are the faces of WCW at the time, take up the offer. And these vatos go to a special event. Now, of course, these outsiders, as they're known, they were given the name the Outsiders because they were from outside. People started to realize that they were there in WCW for the takeover. Okay, they had not yet came up with the N.W.O name yet. But something was in the air. There was a buzzing, cousin. Something was a little bit different. So I can't put I wasn't the cockroach on Eric Bischoff's desk. I'm sure there were some. But I wasn't that one to know and let you guys know my antennas weren't going that day. I can't tell you what happened. But I know that they flipped Hulk Hogan. You know, up until this point, Hulk Hogan had been the babyface. Hulk Hogan had been the hero. I am a real American. Okay, Hulk Hogan was the man. Prayers, vitamins, boot-ups, oh my. Everybody wanted to be Hulk Hogan or they liked him. They were able to flip him into becoming a heel after a lifelong, or not lifelong, he was a heel prior to him becoming a babyface. A lot of people don't know that. We're taking it back to the 70s, late 80s. But he was the babyface. He was the face of wrestling for so many years. So they decided to bring him into the fold. Of course, at Bash in the Beach, man, it was a good fight. They didn't let the presence be felt of the third mystery partner until the very end where Hulk Hogan came in to save Macho Man Randy Savage. Everybody was like, yeah, Hulk Hogan's here. Bobby the Brain Heenan put the best spill on it possible at the announcer table. Everyone really thought Hogan was there to save him, and Hogan turned on him. He turned it on him. He had a big chistoso for Macho Man right there in the middle of Indiana Street, and he dropped the leg on him, and he proclaimed right then and there they were the New World Order of Wrestling. Okay, it was at that exact moment the N.W.O was formulated. The plot, the plan, the brainchild of one Eric Bischoff came to light. And it took notice and it took fire. This was the only staple besides maybe the Four Horsemen that were able to be heels but start to generate love. They were hated so much that they started to become loved. You started to see more N.W.O t-shirts popping up in the WCW arenas. And they let everybody know that they were forming their own organization, meaning their own group. Not necessarily just a stable, but actually their own promotion. And that they were going to take WCW over and turn it to N.W.O. They are the only stable in wrestling history that actually had their own pay-per-view dedicated to just them, which was called N.W.O Sold Out. It flopped. It wasn't the greatest pay-per-view I ever seen in my life, but they had their own. This is how major they became. Where their demise started to happen was they started to take every wrestler in. One of the first people they brought in was X-Pac. X-Pac also part of D-Generation X. Also, man, he's been everywhere. They brought in X-Pac. They brought in Ted DiBiase. They brought in Rick Rude. Macho Man ended up coming to them. Lex Luger was part of them. There was only one, the Giant, there was only one wrestler that actually held out from them and never joined the N.W.O. He did end up joining the N.W.O. Wolfpack, which was an offshoot, the red and black colors, but he never joined the original N.W.O. black and white, which was Sting, okay, at that time. This was about the time of the Crow Sting. For those of you that know wrestling, he was up in the rafters just watching. He was supposed to be the savior and the face of WCW, but the Bob Wilson didn't say shit for 3 years, and I got tired of watching him. So I went over there to watch Stone Cold on WWE because, you know, it was going down over there. The Rock, do you smell what The Rock, you know what I mean? They were cooking over there. And I was going back and forth. I remember as a young child going back and forth in between WCW and WWE because both the storylines were going. You had the Attitude Era, which was popping off in WWE at this time, Monday Night Wars, and then you had the N.W.O. storyline, which was popping, right? But the N.W.O. had more of my interest because they seemed like deviants, criminals. You know, they would destroy you, they would flip you over, pile drive you, paint your back with spray paint. Hulk Hogan played the role to the T. He played this bad guy to the T. Changed his name from the Incredible Hulk Hogan, of course, to Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Play off his Hollywood days, you know, and all his fucking Bammer movies that he had, like No Holds Barred and the one where he dressed in a tutu and fucking sang songs to kids. At the end of the day, the New World Order is a slept-on organization or slept-on group. The reason they're slept on is because people think that they just were thrown together. But this was a brainchild of Eric Bischoff that developed over years and years and was years in the making. I think it was probably the greatest stable ever created besides the Four Horsemen. I always got to give my love to the Four Horsemen. Right off the top, Ric Flair. Woo! You know what I mean? That's different. That's very different. But I will say that the N.W.O. did at that point have professional wrestling on lock. People can't, you gotta admit it. You can't lie. Don't lie to yourself. Don't cheat yourself, man. Treat yourself. The N.W.O. were the ones. Where, to me, it started to get watered down was when they started to bring in Brutus the Barber Beefcakes. They started to bring in fucking Teddy Longs. They started to bring in Virgils, calling them Vince. They started to bring in Miss Elizabeth. They started to bring in all these old school wrestlers. Dusty Rhodes, of course, became an N.W.O. member. Scott Steiner. Buff Bagwell was actually one of the originals. He was a great one. The Giant was one of the originals. He was a great one coming from the Dungeon of Doom to the N.W.O. Motherfuckers don't even know what I'm talking about right now. But so let's get real wrestling fans recognize real. Steel sharpens steel, you know, in an N.W.O. faux live fashion. But anyways, it was something different. It was something growing up as a child. If you were rebelling, if you were a rebel, it gave you a cause to get behind. And it actually made being a bad guy fun. These guys were believable. I remember these guys riding into the arena, Hulk Hogan with the Hells Angels. I remember them bringing in Dennis Rodman, who was an honorary N.W.O. member for about a year. They would bring in stars like several different stars. Fuck, who's the other guy? I don't know the Bob Wilson's name. But anyways, they brought in a few different people. And then, of course, you had your actual staple WCW fight, guys like Diamond Dallas Page, Ric Flair, of course. And these same guys that didn't join the N.W.O. Now, where it started to get twisted and demented and it started to become where, I couldn't fuck with the N.W.O. no more, is when they formed the Red and Black Wolfpack. Woo! Too sweet, right? When they formed the Wolfpack, I didn't quite understand it. I didn't understand why you needed two different factions. I understood for a minute there they were beefing. And basically, I think they were just trying to show that they were their own organization, that they could split off into good guys and bad guys. I couldn't call it. The interchanging was too much for me. Hogan was wearing red and black one day, white and black the next day. The next day he wore the yellow. And I can't call it like an alcoholic. What I did know was the N.W.O. basically was there to stay. And they were there until the end of WCW. You know, that eventually just fell right off the map and Vince McMahon purchased them. And then, of course, you had a nice little run with the original N.W.O. members in WWE, being Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, and X-Pac. But it fizzled out. It panned out. It only lasted a couple of years. The Rock beat the shit out of everyone. Stone Cold done stunned everyone, and that was that. With that being said, you know, the N.W.O., if you haven't looked into the history or read or watched any of their matches, I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Somewhere along the lines, it did water itself down. I think the storyline, there was nothing more to add to it. The whole invasion story was the greatest story ever in wrestling, period. The whole, you know, the accumulation of these super wrestlers was a great thing. But when they started to bring in too much gente and it started to get mumble jumble, so that's when I said, you know what I mean? Nah, I'm going to go fuck with Stone Cold over here. And that's just what it was. Anyways, with that being said, gente, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, every single Sunday, I will be bringing you a different topic, a different profile concerning professional wrestling. Ooh, I can't wait for the next one. I got something on my mind. Something that's really going to go. We're going to go hard, cuz. The N.W.O, you know, pay respects, pay homage to people that set forth the foundation of staples. This stable right here was probably the stable that was most admired, most looked at as the most evilest, vicious. And you know the world of professional wrestling, if you can make them boo, you got them. If you can make them hate you to the point that they want to slap you in the face like Will did Chris Rock, you got him. If you can make them jump in the ring and rush you like they did Dave Chappelle, you got him, right? And these guys definitely had everyone, as you can tell by watching them. So, man, refer to the N.W.O, WCW archives. Trip out on it. Real ones. Anyways, with that being said, man, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about you and your family. It's all about you and your people. If you like to watch a little wrestling, so okay, I do too. Shh, don't tell everybody. They act stupid, right? If not, it's all good. If you like these, please hit that like and please hit that thumbs up. If not, you can hit that thumbs down. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to do what I does regardless, man. I appreciate all the hit. This is a Sunday spiel. You already know what I does. Be on the lookout this afternoon for some hood news as we're going to get in a double up right here on Gunner's Profiles. Bang, bang, and in that fashion.